book that most influenced me was The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. It's a story about a boy, Milo, who enters into the world of imagination, and it encompasses everything creatively and builds from there. It's just a fascinating story that I love to revisit.
Every single song, almost, by Nothing But Thieves. I'm a little obsessed with it. I think I've been listening to the album for like 3 or 4 months by now. Yeah. I have more, but you can go and then
I'll go. Song that I probably have on repeat right now is The Man by The Killers. I was really impressed with kind of the subject matter and what that song means to them. It's about having, not the money and the rock star and the lifestyle, but being able to just have control of yourself and in your space. And it's just a really good uplifting song. It's a cool track. Movie that everybody should see, for me, would probably be Close Encounters of the Third Kind by Steven Spielberg. It's just visually captivating, and it's an awesome story about a man who is visited by aliens and tries to track it down with nothing standing in his way. It's a masterpiece, but for me, that's mine. I think everybody should see it.
A cult classic, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is Corey's favorite movie. Risky Business, right? You have to see Risky Business.
Girl Next Door.
Girl Next Door. Some cool classics. But the movie I saw recently where nobody breathed the entire time was A Quiet Place, which I've never been scared. I think the people that we went with was buried in like each other's underarms like the entire time. But it was funny when the movie started. It was so quiet, and I never bought food from the outside before. I really brought it in, but I just got off work and was like super hungry, so I brought in. I went next on to Gelson's with Century City. And they come in the theater, I'm like, sweet. And luckily I got a soup, so I didn't have to have any forks, so it didn't look so obvious, right? Like drinking. So I put the bag down, and the lights went down, and I went to go get the soup out of the bag, and it was like the whole first 30 minutes was completely silent. So I was like, and I go, so I finally pull it out or whatever. Anyways, and then I think Mo brought in her leftovers, and she couldn't even open it because it was styrofoam, so it was like, trying to open all the things. Anyways, besides that, it was probably the best thriller I've ever seen. For me, it would be picking 5 or 6 destinations. I'm going to see some kind of uncharted waters, and not going to Venice and Italy, but going places that no one ever really gets to go. That'd be mine.
So something like, for me, I'd love to go to Bora Bora. I saw photos years ago, and I had a friend that went for his honeymoon, and just, it's insane. It's so cool. It's all these little islands all separating around a giant volcano in the middle, and you stay in houses right on the water. And it's just to be able to wake up in the morning, open the door, and just jump right off your house into just beautiful, serene blue water. That's what I would love to have.
For mine was, I was telling you earlier, I've attempted to go 3 times, and every time something happened. Because you have to have reservations 3 months in advance. The French Laundry. That would be in Northern California. That would be, apparently, I don't know if this is a fable, but the servers have to have ballet training, and it's probably obscene amount of money or whatever, but I mean, the experience is where it's really at, not just the food. So,
for me, it's funny. It's not any place really far away or crazy and wild. But when I was a kid, there was a place called Angelina's Pizza and Pipes, and what it was it was an organ. It was a pizza restaurant, but it had an organ inside, and the organ player would come in and he'd play songs from anything you can think of, and all the instrumentations from the drums to the horns, everything was all wired around the outside of the building. And I think there's 7 of them left in the United States, and I'd love to go to all of them if possible, and just be in those spaces. It's really cool. It's a neat thing that doesn't really exist anymore, and a lot of them are kind of getting torn down or getting pulled aside or turned into other things. So to be able to track them all down and go visit them, Love to. Any of the different pizza and pipe restaurants.
I haven't really got into the podcast yet, so I think that's Corey's like obsessed with podcasts. So
I watch a lot of them. WTF with Mark Maron is a great one to listen to. It's really funny because it's mostly about him coming to terms and apologizing for just being an asshole to all these different famous people who he's known throughout his life. It's just really cool. Another one that I love is Shat the Movies. It's basically three guys who sit down and revisit films from the 80s and 90s. And you can, as a listener, you can always go on their site and submit films that you want them to review. But it's just fun to listen to.
I got super hooked way late, but Peaky Blinders, I'm like obsessed. In fact, all of my friends and I are going as Peaky Blinders for Halloween. I think there's like 3 different Halloween parties. We're just gonna be Peaky Blinders the whole time. It's the Peaky Blinder gang. There's that one. I was super obsessed with that one, and then A Handmaid's Tale. I've never. The writing in that show is so amazing, and it's so weird that you never know things could happen. Mm-hmm. But it's so much drama. Like I can't get a breath, so I have to take a few days off. Like a lot of people can just binge it, and I can't. Like I have like heart palpitations. I can't have any caffeine while watching it. There's certain rules, but The Handmaid's Tale is probably one of my favorite shows ever.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think, my number one is always Friday Night Lights. I've seen that show back and forth so many times, I can't even count. And if you've never seen it, visit it. It's a great show. But right now, I am barreling through Fargo on FX. Wonderfully written show. It's an anthology series, so every season is completely different. But it maintains everything that Coen Brothers did in their film, from the humor to the drama to the gore and violence. It's all there. And then also another show that just if you want, give it time, and you want kind of an eye-opening experience, also from the same show creator, Noah Hawley, is Legion on FX as well. That show is just, it's the only way to describe it, really.
Uncharted.
I was going to say, do you want to say it at the same time? Uncharted. The game's fantastic. It's by Naughty Dog. You've got 3 of them you can play with a bunch of extra stuff on, but it's such a great story. I mean, it's an action adventure.
The cool thing about video games nowadays is it's not just a video game, it's a movie. So he plays a lot more video games than I do. Like I don't really have time to come home and play it. And once you get addicted, it's like that's all you want to do, and that's not really too much me anymore. So with Uncharted, he let me borrow at the time your PlayStation or whatever. And I was like 3 games behind, and I think I beat all 3 games within like 3 weeks. Like it was pretty cool. I think we agreed on this question to nominate Robert Patrick.
Yeah, Robert.
Because he is the most interesting guy. He's like what's the most interesting man? Dos Equis. He's like the Dos Equis guy. He is probably I don't know, super humble. He's a super hard worker, and he's been doing it a long time. And I think his answers would be the most interesting. And he's a funny guy. So, I don't know, I think we should nominate him. I think
All right.
Best.
Yeah. So we as Dig the Kid nominate Robert Patrick.
Yeah.